Hey everybody, and specifically Ruth and Les. So sorry I can't be there tonight. I really wish I could, but I miss you guys terribly. I wanted to tell you guys a quick story about how I ended up at Eastern and what it's done for me. It just so happened that this happened actually in August 24th of 2000. I had just unfortunately been declined access to the military due to a knee injury, and I was kind of floating aimlessly and didn't actually have any idea what I was going to do with my life, because I'd always planned on just going to the military like my father and his father. And I got home from working in the fields one night, and I was taking a shower, and I heard a phone call but didn't think anything of it. And later that night at dinner, my mom just casually mentioned, "Oh, by the way, Brad, that phone call earlier was some lady named Ruth at the theater department at Eastern, and that she was offering you a scholarship, but I told her you weren't interested." And I literally spit my soup out. I said, "Mom, like, I've got no other options right now. Like, why not try this?" And so I called Ruth. I had to track her number down through all kinds of phone books and directories before I found a phone number for her. And and I left a message, and I told my mom, like, I'm gonna do this. And she said, well, she asked the question that all theater parents ask their kids, and that is, what are you going to do with a theater degree? And I said, well, I tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. I'm gonna ride this wave as long as it can go, whatever it comes from. I'm just going to see what comes from it, and whenever it dies out, then I'll just figure out what to do with my life from then. And then, so she agreed, and I excitedly went up and started at Eastern very soon after. And as I went through, like, I learned so much from Ruth and Les. Specifically, I still tell everybody the same lesson that Ruth taught me right as soon as I started college. To be early is to be on time is to be late is to be dead. And I still tell my drivers that to this day. I learned a lot about just hard work, and I can honestly say that the wave that Ruth started and Eastern started for me 18 years ago is still going. I've not had a single day of unemployment. I train people to do touring theater. I still work in the theater industry years and years later. It's been 18 years, and I have an amazing life that's been given to me by theater and by entertainment, and I can trace it all the way back to a single phone call and to Eastern Oklahoma State College back 18 years ago. And it even led me to my amazing wife, who's actually standing behind this camera right now. But she's a stage manager. We met in the theater. So this world is this life that I've been given. I never even would have thought I could have achieved things that seem simple now. So I owe a lot to Eastern Oklahoma State College. So thank you guys very much. I will miss you.
Hello, my name is Vanessa Miller, and I was a student at Eastern from 2003 to 2005. After Eastern, I went on to Southeastern, where I graduated cum laude with my bachelor's in acting, directing, and musical theater. Then after graduation, for 10 years, I traveled the country with the National Theater for Children, based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Les's home state. Shout out to ya. And I was able to provide education and entertainment through the form of theater. And now I am employed at Hartstein Elementary, where I get to continue making education fun for my students. Even now, some of my best memories when I look back is from my time spent at Eastern. We weren't just a theater department, we were a family. And Ruth and Les Brelsford, they weren't just our professors. They were our mentors, our friends, our inspiration to be a better person and to try to make this world a better place. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for their love and guidance. And every show and workshop that we did was filled with so much passion, and I loved being a part of something so magical. The one show that I always look back and think about is Grease. It was my last show at Eastern. We opened on this day, April 28th, 2005. That morning, my grandfather passed away, and then an hour before curtain, my father suffered from a major stroke. But as they say, the show must go on, and I would not have been able to hold myself together and perform if it wasn't for the love of my theater family. And because of them, each and every single one of them, they hold a special place in my heart. The arts teach us that about love and compassion. It helps us forget about the tragedies that are going on in the world, even if it's just for a moment. But in that moment, you're able to smile because all of your worries are forgotten. And that's why the arts are so important, and that we must fight to keep them in our schools, so students and kids have a way to express themselves and maybe learn who they want to be when they grow up. Thank you.
My name is Leanne Sprinkle Schweitzer, and I attended Eastern in the fall of 1962 and graduated in the spring of 1964, which was probably before most of you were born. When I was here, Bob Pratt and Johnny Ray were heads of the music and theater department, respectively, and I was a member of both. Under Bob Pratt, we went out to area schools and did concerts. One semester, we were privileged to go to the Capitol and sing for the legislatures, which was a big thrill for all of us, and especially for this little girl from Red Oak. Under Johnny Ray and her theater program, I learned a little bit about every aspect of the theater. She had me doing makeup. We did carousel one semester, and I helped with the makeup. I even ran a spotlight for, I think, a fashion show. I was constantly painting sets and looking for props for programs, and I even did a little bit of acting, which I wasn't very good at. I truly feel that I have been blessed to be both a student and an instructor here at Eastern.
Hi, my name's Tiffany Orr. I'm a Theater Eastern graduate, 2002. I'm so incredibly grateful for the time that I got to spend at Eastern and with the theater department there. One of the most important things I've learned is how to choose your family and choose your community. Theater Eastern is the first family I got to choose. And what an incredible, supportive, and wonderful group of people they were. I was from a very small town, and so I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. I knew it wanted to be theater related, but I was fairly certain it didn't need to be on stage. So I remember talking to Ruth and Les about stage management. And in the next few days, the cast list for the next show was posted, and there was my name. I was the stage manager, and I was terrified. The show was the best little Christmas pageant ever, and there were 52 children in the cast. I remember walking into Ruth's office and being completely terrified, asking if it was a mistake. Surely it had to be. And Ruth just looked at me and smiled and said, no mistake, and you're gonna be great. Let us know if you need any help. It was such an incredible time in my life. I'm now the production stage manager at Theater Latte Da in Minneapolis from August to May every year. This will be my 9th season. In the summers from May to August, I go to Music Theater Wichita, where I'm the production stage manager there and have been since 2010. My time at Eastern led directly to my career, and what a joy it has been, and I can't imagine it any other way. When I was there, we all got to sign the wall, the upstage side of the proscenium. Upstage left, that's me. Lead with your heart.
My name is Jill Anders, and I was at Eastern between 1999 and 2001. I am currently living in New York City, where I am the social media producer and photographer for a weekly stand-up show at the Upright Citizens Brigade East. I have a lot of great memories of being at Eastern and a lot of great friends, some of which are the time that we took a show to ACTF, and Ruth was actually in the show, and to do a photo shoot and a nice display for the competition. We went to Rodgers Cave and played outside all day and had a picnic and had water balloon fights and played in the lake. Another one of my great memories is when we convinced Ruth to let us have a Halloween party on stage, where we stayed overnight on the stage. Nothing quite as scary as having a sleepover on a stage. Also traveled to New Mexico with a number of people, which was another thing that was fantastic. You know, one thing about Ruth is that you never know how short she is until you stand next to her. That woman carries herself so tall, and she could run circles around all of us. She could touch her foot to her ear, which she loved to demonstrate during class. And she was fantastic at yoga and taught us all how to relax. And when she was stressed, she'd want a hamburger so bad. She just had to have some meat. One of the biggest things about my time at Eastern is, in a weird turn of events, I was diagnosed with cancer immediately after I left. And what got me through those months after that were those times I had at Eastern and those friends that I made and those connections, and that's what got me through, and that's what I was able to think about during treatment. So even though we might not have talked and I might not have gone up there to visit, it's still those people always have a special spot in my heart. They always will, and I'm now cancer-free and 16 years, and I also happened to meet the man who would later become my husband at Eastern while doing Sound of Music. He was Rolf, and I was the assistant choreographer, so many good times. Such a sad loss that the theater is shutting down. Thank you, Ruth and Les, for all that you do.